This guy built an app in Cursor and made $100,000 in 15 minutes. This guy took a train ride and made $30,000, most likely using AI. And my friends, this is the latest YouTube grift, and we're seeing all these kinds of videos popping up all over the place, and it just keeps getting worse. And since this is inside of our space of web development and design, I think we should talk about it and get real and honest about vibe coding. Now, I dip my toes into vibe coding, and I'm not against it. I'm only against the false claims and scammy stuff that is out there. But I do think all web developers and designers should be experimenting and getting to know these powerful tools that are at our disposal. These tools like Replit, Bolt, Cursor, and there are going to be a lot more coming out. Well, they are there to help us with our workflows and to improve our productivity, but they are not a magic button or a magic prompt that is there to get us rich really quick and allow us to retire in 3 months from now and be on an island making videos saying that, hey, we're making $500,000 a month from 10 minutes of AI. And from my vibe coding, there have been 2 major lessons that I've learned. The first one is it takes a lot of time to create something. It doesn't take 15 minutes to build a product. There is no way possible this could be done. Now, I could put in a prompt and it could give me a start to something, but to build a SaaS app, to build an app that's going to go on the Apple Store, this takes a lot of time, and anybody claiming to do so in a very short period of time is most likely a scam artist. And in fact, if you dig a little bit deeper like I have, you will find that the people claiming to do all this stuff, they have alternative motives. They are usually trying to sell you on their AI product that they built, or they are trying to sell a course, because anybody making a ridiculous amount of money, they're not going to create courses. In fact, they're not even going to be out there on YouTube and on Twitter saying how much money they are making. They're going to keep that to themselves like any successful business person would. But back to making real products using vibe coding and our AI tools. This takes time because let's say you do want to create a SaaS or a mobile app. Well, you got to work on the UI, the UX, the user flow. You got to really think things through. You got to plan. You got to iterate. You got to do a lot of debugging. There is so much work that goes into it. It's not something that can be done in hours, not even days or even weeks. The vibe coding tools that we have, they help us out with about maybe 60% of functional code. But then the other 40%, well, that is up to us. And that leads me to lesson number 2. And that is you got to know some sort of development in order to really use these tools. If not, you are opening up such a scary can of worms that's full of hacked websites, broken websites, bugs, and just basically taking money from people, which is not cool. And if AI only gives us 60, maybe even up to 75% of functional code, well, that other 25% has to come from somewhere. And it needs to come from somebody who actually knows development. And if we are looking to build a proper SaaS product, you're going to need somebody with some engineering skills even. So if you don't know how to code, you best to get somebody who does to help you out with it. And then for the big apps, there's a lot more that goes into it. We got to think about how people are going to log in. We got to understand the SSOs. We got to understand auth. How are we going to process payments? How are we going to build a database? How are we going to connect a headless CMS? We got to work with APIs. There's a whole lot of work that needs to go into it. And then if we're looking at a production ready website, same thing. It takes time and reiteration. We got to go through and make sure, well, the code is clean. We got to make sure that everything is functioning as it should. The responsiveness is there. And I have not seen an AI tool that could spit something out really quick, making it ready to go. In fact, one of our pro members inside of the Lytbox community, she made the transition from WordPress to Lovable. And in her transition, it has been just months of learning and just obsession about how do we connect a CMS? How do we use this? How do we put in databases? How do we fine tune everything? It wasn't a journey of, I found a magical prompt that creates really good looking websites, because that does not exist. This is a reason why we need to get honest. And I wish content creators out there who are talking to people who are using these tools would be more honest and call them out when they aren't. And now let's talk about WordPress plugins, because a lot of us are inside of the WordPress space, and we're going to be seeing videos like this popping up telling people to stop buying plugins and just build your own plugin using Cursor and vibe coding. Well, if you know PHP and you're really good with PHP, that actually would be a good idea theoretically. But what we are seeing in WordPress and what I have heard reported is that the repo is getting flooded by AI created plugins. Just people like, hey, I got Cursor, just spun something up really quick, zipped it, and tried to get it on the repo, even though no real coding went into it. I mean, that is dangerous. That's really dangerous. And I could only empathize with whoever is running the WordPress repo and having to verify all the new plugins come in. I empathize with them because these plugins, they are going to be breaking sites. They're going to be just hacked galore. Now, I'm not saying to avoid vibe coding. What I want to talk about is a solution and how to use it responsibly. First off, forget all the scams out there and the grifts. It's just the latest grift right now, the latest clickbait. And in a lot of channels, unfortunately in YouTube, they don't really have integrity or honesty. It's a really sad thing, but usually it's those channels that have videos with 1 million views and 1 million subscribers. It's just the way it is. But what we need to do is look at how to do this responsibly. And that is to actually use it as a tool and learn some code. Take some time. If you want to build a SaaS product, that's awesome, but invest some time into learning and understanding React, Next.js. It does take time to start to learn these skills, but learning these skills now are more convenient because just think about this. 20 years ago, trying to learn JavaScript, you probably would have to do it from like a big, thick book that was super confusing and figuring it out before Google. But now, for the last 9 years since I started web development and design, Google has been a tremendous resource of being able to figure out, how do I do this? Hey, this isn't working. And just digging into Google and finding solutions. So the solutions are more readily now, more than ever, more than it was in Google, because now AI could help you out with those solutions. It could help you on the path. But there are good platforms like Scrimba where you can learn code. You're also going to want to invest time in learning and understanding all the different aspects and connections and APIs, the OAuth, the SSOs, the headless CMSs. You're going to want to learn all these things, but by doing that, you're going to be able to use AI to quick start and jump ahead much faster, and also save a lot of money as well because, well, you won't have to have a massive team of engineers, but you still probably want to get some. AI is not going to replace developers or engineers. So don't worry about that. Keep investing inside of your skill. Now, I had a buddy who recreated his own website. And he used Bolt at first, but then hit limitations in Bolt. So then he moved his code over to Replit. He built it using Next.js and Tailwind. And he worked on it obsessively for a long period of time. And it turned out to be a really good website, full with a knowledge base. It has functionality inside of it, but it wasn't something he created in a weekend. And he did have some development knowledge from his past background. And he was super obsessive as well. That's why we are such good friends, because we are very, very obsessive. So he got obsessed in learning these tools. And that is a way to use these tools correctly and responsibly. And then my buddy Reno, check out his live streams. He's been working on his live streams and putting in a whole lot of time. And in them, you're going to see it is a process to learn the vibe coding in order to create something. And his live streams are hours long, and I know between them he's working and learning these tools and putting a lot to just get to an end result on something. And that is a very good example of a responsible way to be using these tools and to be realistic. So don't let the FOMO get to you when you start seeing all these videos pop up. Don't let them make you feel fearful about AI taking your job. Just keep investing in yourself, your skills, and your abilities, and learn these tools, because these tools are going to help you along, and we want to future-proof ourselves. Well, I hope this video found some value. It wasn't meant to be negative. It was just meant to be honest. That's it. And I would love to hear your thoughts about all of this inside of the comments. I'll see you in the next one.